Hello everybody, this is the King Bay, your book granny here with the book review for you. Oh yeah, I finally got around to doing a book review. Yeah, I owe y'all so many. It is just not even almost funny. So I got my list of names here because y'all know I'm terrible with names. I'm actually doing Hearts That Cut by Kika Hatzopoulou, but I don't have the book yet. I read it on the Kindle. So I ordered it from Fairly and it hasn't come yet. I was so excited. I wanted to read this book because I really like this first one. I'll put the review up there for you. But so I will say this is a no spoiler zone as always. It's a no spoiler zone. But if you have not read this first book, don't watch this review. Go read the first book. It's a good book. And then come on back for the second one, because there aren't any spoilers for the second book in this here review. You're just going to have the first book spoiled for you. Okay, so that is it. Okay, so let's get on with the getting on again. This is Hearts That Cut. Oh, I put the name on here, I hope. Yep, Hearts That Cut, and this is the second book in the duology. Okay, so let's go back to the first book, and this is where the spoilers are going to come in. So if y'all haven't read it, again, go away. But at the end of the first book, remember Io, that's our main character. She's one of, with them, people with powers, their powers are like influenced by the Greek gods, and hers were the sisters' fates. There were 3 of them. And hers was the one that could cut the threads. I mean, cut the fate threads, right? So at the end of the last one, remember she's a little private investigator, and there have been these murders going on, and she find out that it's wraiths actually doing it. Wraiths aren't popular in their world, right? So she goes through it, and at the end of the day, she finds out that her sister was part of this big old conspiracy to do exactly what they're not quite sure, maybe overthrow the government or what. They weren't quite sure at that, but they know her sister was in on it. She had worked trying to find out who these were, and it ended up one of the crime boss, Bianca. She was turned into one of these wraiths to actually, put out their little punishment. So her life is pretty much ruined because you die once you become a wraith. So at the end of that book, Io promised her, she said, hey, if you help me find out who's doing this, I'll find out who did this to you, who made you a wraith and why. So at the end of the last book, they know about this conspiracy. She knows that her sister, Io knows that her older sister's involved. Then her second sister, her middle sister, went to go help the older sister. You know what I'm saying? She went to go see what she needed. So Io's in a really sensitive spot. She had this guy named Ede. I didn't know how to say it. I don't even know if I'm saying Io's name right, to tell you, but anyway, Ede. He had been shot, and she didn't know what happened to him, but they got to get her and Bianca got to get out. She got a grasp of this God strand, one of their threads, and they're following that. And that's where the second book starts. They start with her. She has a little strand, and they've been following this God strand for like a few weeks. So this is weeks after what happened in the first book. So she's still raw from that. She don't know what happened to Ede. Her little bond to him is still there, but it's not moving. So she's like, he's not looking for me. It's just all kind of craziness. So in this one, they're trying to figure out whose God's strand is this? Is this a God strand that she has? What in the heck is really going on, and why? And how do we stop it if it's something bad, right? Which is probably something bad, since they're making wraiths, and the wraiths are up there killing up folks. So it's probably something bad. I'm just saying. So anyway, so they're doing that. And that's what the book is about. Now, I will say, I didn't really like this one. I liked the first one a lot. The first one was good. But this second one, not so much. In this one, Io, she was real whiny. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I can understand we all have fears. That's not the problem. It's good to have them have some issues. But she was like real whiny, and her fears were like crippling her, or she just was so insecure. It was just too much. And since we were in her point of view all the time, it was just, really, woe is me. Well, I can't deal with that kind of personality. So it was not doing it for me. Okay, in the first book, you find out that she was betrayed by her older sister in the worst way. That's why she's out on this journey, basically. I mean, she was really jacked up. A lot of people were jacked up because of the things that her older sister did, right? So in the second book, you know, like I say, they following all the clues, following this little strand, blah, 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 right? But they never, ever had it out, you know what I'm saying, with her and her sisters. You know, they just lit that strand, shall we say, that thread just fall through. And you're like, why? It's plenty of opportunity. Let's do this. Let's finish this. You had all this build up over here to find out it's the sister and stuff like that. And you're not going to do nothing with it come the second book? You know, it's just like, no, I mean, don't get me wrong. They mention it and you know it's in there because that's why they're going on this quest, right? But it's just, she really dropped the ball on that one. We're going to say drop the ball. Then there was Ede and Io's relationship. One of my biggest pet peeves in, like, if you're going to have a romantic relationship in there, and I know you got to have your dark moment, all that stuff, do not have it being over something that's so easily solved by saying a few words. It needs to be a real issue, you know what I'm saying? Speak. I mean, that's one I just can't stand. I mean, it just really irks my nerve. And first, they already had her being all whiny and insecure and blah, blah, blah. And then just a simple opening your mouth type thing. It just, no, it was too much. I'm like, oh gosh, I'm so sad. Because I had great hopes for this book. And then, oh goodness, I'm sorry, my chin itches. So yeah, it just didn't work for me. And okay, let's go back to the plot. So they got this guy's string at the end of the last one, the guy's thread, and they're trying to follow it. Now, most of the book was them following the strand, and yeah, things happened to them and along the trip, but it wasn't really a growth of IO. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, okay, we're just going from place to place. It's like, okay, let's go have lunch, let's have dinner. It's not that bad, but they're just going from place to place following this strand. But then at the end, things really picked up quick. When they finally started happening, they happened quick. But I'm like, you had all this time that you could have done something. It was like, have something else happen. We're not just following this darn strand around. It was no character development. It wasn't even really plot development because we're still in the same situation. I get here, up, she's not here. I get here, up, she's not here. Oh, I get here, she's not here. You know what I'm saying? It's not really moving the plot forward. And like I said, the character development, it wasn't there. So yeah, I'm sorry. I sound like I'm really killing this book. I feel bad. Okay, so let's talk about some things that I did like. The relationship between Bianca and Io, they did a good job at showing their relationship. Now, granted, they didn't show this relationship grow, which they should have done, because that would have been showing some character growth. But instead, they just showed you their relationship as they went from place to place. This is how they were. That was their routine, you know, and this is how it is. So you get to see their relationship, and they had a good relationship. I really liked their relationship. It was the best relationship in the book. Okay, and I'm talking, well, I should say in the series, starting off with the first book to the second book. That was a good relationship. I will also say that relationship, I will say that was the saving grace. I mean, the saving grace of the book, the relationship between Io and Bianca. So, I mean, yeah, that saving grace, y'all, saving grace. I will say something that drove me crazy in the first book, they fixed that in the second book. I'm like, what does all this rain? I mean, they were using the weather like it should play a big role in that first book, but it didn't. I'm like, why are they mentioning all this stuff when it doesn't mean anything? And then it really comes, bam, you find out why in that second book. So I don't know, they should have put a little bit of the why in the first book so it wouldn't feel like it was just like a bling, 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 just hanging there for no reason. So, but they did a good job of tying that up in the second book and explaining the why and all that sort of stuff. So that was a good thing. I will say that, I did like the ending of the book, the reasons things were happening. I know it happened fast, but all the stuff behind the scenes that they had, boom, happened in them last, I don't know, maybe 2-3 chapters, you know, that was an interesting, very interesting ending. The reasons and what was actually happening, that was good. I had guessed it, pretty much guessed it a lot earlier, But hey, I liked it. I mean, I didn't fully have the answer, but I guessed a lot of it, but it was still good. I really liked that plot points, okay? So I will say that I didn't like this book, but I still would have read it had I known about the issues, because I do like the way they wrapped it up. That was a very good ending. It had a lot of issues. Yes, the book had issues for me, but I did like those parts of it, and I did want those answers, so I'm glad I got the answers that I wanted. I just didn't like the trip to the answers, that's all. So that is it. I still owe y'all a lot more reviews, so I'm going to try and get some more reviews done. We'll see, okay? You guys have a great day. Bye-bye.